I appreciate you having me on. I'm just going to kind of zip through this. Like Coach Hughes was saying, we're going to kind of keep moving on. So I'm going to start with just kind of an overview about our defense and what we do and what we are here. So obviously we're a 3-high safety defense. We visit Iowa State 5 years ago. We've been running it for 4 years. This will be our 5th year in the defense. So we've tweaked it and modified it to fit high school and our personnel each year and all that. But it's something that I think's really benefited us greatly. I will never not go anywhere and not install this as my base. I think that's one thing people are sometimes intimidated by it based on your personnel, but I think you can format it to what your player strengths are. So we'll go through this pretty quick here. Our philosophy just that we use is ball down, ball out. Our kids love that. We try to also, as coaches, every day we're teaching life. And we talk about on defense, the ball's going to get put down. And most of the time, we don't control the circumstances of how the ball got put down, but it's our job to ball out. And we push that in life as well. We talk to our kids about, with your jobs, your spouse, your children. The ball is going to get put down, and it's your job as an adult male and figure and father and husband to ball out. So we try to always equate life to what we're trying to do. So ball down, ball out's our overall philosophy. What we are is a multiple odd front defense with 3 high safety. So, there's always the discussion of, is it 3-3-5? Is it, stack? What is it? We're a multiple odd front. You and I have talked before. I mean, I'll show some video in a little bit where there's times when you pause the film, you're not really sure, someone were to ask what's your base front, they wouldn't really know what we are, but it's about our personnel grouping. So we're going to play with 3 defensive linemen, 3 linebackers, and 5 DBs, which 3 of those are safeties. Why do we do it? We feel the versatility is just unmatched. Our rule, and our kids know, we did a basic install Thursday morning, and the first question is, what do we never do? And our kids know we never go palms up. We feel we can get lined up to anything. We can handle any motion. We just don't go palms up and show confusion or blame something, that's out of our control or anything. We feel it gets our better athletes on the field. I don't know about you guys, but man, seems like it's getting more and more difficult to find, big D linemen at our school. We're in the state of Georgia, and so it's difficult ball. Coach Hughes is just talking about that down here. And so we feel we have a bunch of those hybrid type kids, and it fluctuates. We're cyclical like everybody else, but we just feel it gets our better athletes on the field. I think it's easy to disguise. And a lot of offensive guys, one of the first things they ask their quarterbacks, when you're identifying things, is it open or closed? Or there are 2 safeties on the hash, and here's your coverage tree you can get from that. It's a middle of field closed. Here's your coverage tree you can get from that. We feel that with our static alignment of 3 guys across at 8 to 10 yards, you don't really know what we're going to get into. So we kind of like the static pre-snap look, and then we'll do some things post-snap. And we like it because it's getting to where you can add various rushers. And, the hot topic now, everybody's talking about simulated pressures. Well, I mean, we've been doing these things for years, and it's just easier to disguise when you've got guys off the line of scrimmage coming from various levels of the defense. How do we do this? Well, we look at individual concepts, and I'll show that on another slide down the road here, how we give each position group kind of, such as alignment things and different things and individual concepts, and then we put them in group. And we've got to be big on this, that we feel that our coaches have to be on the same page with our verbiage, with our players, because we do a lot of things where if I'm working an apex technique, that may be our rover safety, and I may take some of the outside linebackers and work the same thing because they're going to be an apex. Or if our joker safety is going down with our linebackers coach and he's working things where the joker's inserting from the mic, then we got to be able to communicate the same things. And then we put them into our team concepts. You can kind of look, this is just kind of a base alignment at us. In our tight front, we base out the tight front, and I'll get into more of our fronts and coverages. But, if you just look at day 1 camp install of tight cloud and what we do, we're not reinventing the wheel. I mean, everybody plays split field safety coverages, and that's kind of our background. What I found with this is, like my buddy Adam Carter down at Lowndes, you can come from a stack background and maybe present it with more, closed type coverage systems and everything, or a stack alignment type stuff. I'm more of a split field guy coming from 4-2-5 and 3-4 stuff. So you can just look at how we are just day one camp install. Of our philosophy, we play with controlled aggression. I talk to our kids about, a snake's just going along minding its business. And depending on where we are on the field, we take our kids in the late spring and summer, and we literally walk 100 yards of the field. And we talk about field zones, what offenses would want to call, what we would want to call. And we talk about just, snakes. Nobody just wants to go up and grab them. Most people don't. And so we're going on, and we're going to play controlled football and situational football. And when a snake gets threatened, it coils up. When it needs to strike, it does. And that's kind of how we go about it, is playing base defense. And when we need to add in and go down our pecking list of what we're going to do, that's how we do it. We're really big on situational defense. We work that at practice. Everything is situational based. I want our kids to understand nuances of, offensive play calling along with what we would call. And ultimately, it's about, to me, getting lined up and letting your kids play fast. Try to make it simple for them. We don't want them to overthink things, and we want to be able to play fast. Kind of how we go about doing that is, like I said, we have position alignment rules that allows us to adjust without me having to make a bunch of different calls. We use the term 4 to 6 A to B, the average play 4 to 6 seconds. We're trying to get point A to point B as fast as we can. We combo order play calls. And when I install it, we go through, everything about it. And eventually, as we've learned that, now we just narrow that down to 1 or 2 words and play. We try to have our automatic checks and ultimately play the next play. We're really big on that. We actually show college clips of where, a team, I used to do at Alabama, where a team would give up a big play, bam, and those guys would run right back out and they're playing the next play. You can't worry about it, whether it's a good play for you or a negative play for you. You got to go. Our objective, we're trying to score on defense. I just went through these with our players the other day. We are trying to score. Make no mistake about it. We want to add points for us. We want to take the ball away. We use the term takeaway. We do not use turnover because that insinuates you're waiting on the offense to turn the ball over. We talk takeaway. We're going to take it away. We do takeaway circuits each week to kind of emphasize that. Then we're trying to force a punt, force a field goal attempt, ultimately keep the opponent out of the end zone. We feel these are kind of our pecking order right here of what we want to do. Limit big plays. Everybody does the research, and I think if you look at the explosives, that's going to narrow down a lot of offense being able to generate points and defense being able to get stops. Is, can you limit big plays? We're going to stop the run. We always, in our scouting thing, and that's one thing we've narrowed it down. I used to give these big things. Now it's a 1-page deal, and we want our kids to know we focus on us. We feel that if we focus on us, we should be able to call anything and be able to run it, but we're going to take away their top formations and their top 3 or 4 runs and passes. We want to contain the passing game. It's an offensive world today. These OCs are getting really smart at what they do and putting players in conflict and stretching the field and using every bit of it. So we know you're going to get some passes off, and we just want to contain that, and that kind of ties in limit big plays. Take away, like I said, what the opponent does best. We want to win first down. We do a lot of situational on first down. I mean, everybody talks about money down, which is you get off the field on third down, but we do a lot of best on best. First down, less than 4 yards, there's a winner and a loser. Offense, if they get 4 yards, we're up down. And if they don't get 4 yards, offense is up down. And so we try to win first down. And then obviously money down is really important to us, and finish. Everything we do, we start doing that even when we do our drill work in the off season. We're focusing on finish, and that's how we believe you can finish play, series, and game. This example of like our individual concepts. So our Sam, Mike, and Will, our 3 linebackers, the Sam has to understand he's going to play an apex, a 50, which is a back alignment, and what we call an up technique, and I'll kind of get to that. Our Mike is going to play a 10 and a 20. Our Will play an apex, a 50, a 20. He's the one that slides in and can play over a guard, and then also an up. Our free safety will play a cover down and also high technique. Our rover sometimes will have to get put in an apex position on the weak side, but mostly cover down and high. Joker's really got to know them all. He's the guy that can replace and go all over the field. In our corner, we also work press alignment where we can bail off that, and also an off technique where we can be pedaling out or playing catch. We talk in terms of our ACAT. Once again, this is what we installed Thursday with our players. An old term, everybody's always said defensively, don't get beat by alignment. So we're going to get we have a teaching and performance because we don't want robots. So here's the way we install your alignment, but obviously a little common sense based on receiver splits and H-back alignments and offensive line splits. You can perform a line to put yourself in the best spot. I believe that your key and your eye discipline in this defense is kind of the most important. We talk in terms, and I really love this that we got from Iowa State: scan, zoom, and snap. So every position has a scan ID when the huddle breaks or when offense gets lined up. We zoom in on our primary key, and then once our primary key tells us what it is, we're going to snap our eyes to our secondary key. So if you're an inside linebacker reading a guard, bam, he gets a pull. We're going to yell pull, pull, pull. We're going to snap our eyes to our secondary key because you should know it's a gap scheme and somebody's coming down on you. Then we talk our assignment. Everybody's going to know run, to, and away, and pass. And then our technique, and that's what we call our ABC drills. Everybody talks everyday drills, EDD. We talk in terms of ABCs. I think it helps communicate with our coaches and also our players. And all that is your A is your agility drills, your body technique position drills within each front and coverage. B is for block destruction. So when we're doing our block destruction drills, our kids should know that. I can put on the practice schedule, hey, coaches, you got 5 minutes. Andy, let's work our B drills today. They know to incorporate block destruction. C is for contact, and that includes tackling and takeaway drills. So I heard Coach Hughes talking as I jumped on here. We also have every coach has a drill list and a position manual just so we can kind of be on top of things and be organized and structured in what we're doing. And then finishing everything we do, like I said, completion of the play, series, and game. The big key points, again, of what we really teach and narrow it down is our eye discipline. And one thing that we try to push, and not only just reading your key, and I think sometimes this gets undercoached, I know I did for years, is not only do you read your key, but the reaction time off that. I'll stand behind our safeties with a stopwatch. Half the time I don't even really time it. They just think I do. And we'll work, I'll call a coverage. We'll have a number 2 receiver. He'll have to read his key, and then I'll put a clock on what his reaction time is. So whether it's 2's out and we're playing 2 read and he's got to get over the top of 1, how quick is he to his landmark where he needs to go? Let's say number 2 is blocking the apex defender and I'm secondary force. How quick am I getting to the line of scrimmage? So we put a clock on it. So not only do we really stress reading the key, we stress the reaction once I've read that key. We use the term leverage and layer. I mean, yes, we talk gaps, but, gaps are very fluid. And so we don't spend a lot of time on that. We talk more in leverage. And that's, the near hip, near foot, near shoulder, gap hand, gap foot, man hand, man foot that everybody uses. But we want to leverage, and that to us talks horizontal. So we will do drills and we'll do walkthrough things for each position where we would say if we're in this front or coverage and the ball gets here, off tackle, what does that leverage look like? Where's everybody supposed to fit with our primary force, our secondary force, and our secondary contain? And then we're going to have a cap player on those leverage assignments as well. And then layer. And that's where I love the 3 high safety. And I think you've got to really stress it because it is one of those when you put it on the board. A buddy of mine, David Reeves, used to be the DC at UAB where I played at. Said, offensively, you can draw a play up. A lot of times it looks really good and you get on the field and just doesn't work out like you thought with timing. Well, this is kind of the opposite. You draw up the 3 high and there. It looks like there's a lot of open spaces and some void areas. But if you read your key and you react, you leverage the ball, and then we layer it from all 3 levels. And then player position strengths. And I think this is one of the things that's important that I've talked to a lot of staffs that want to know about what we do, and they want to kind of dabble in the 3 high. And I'm like, well, you can still do it. And for us, we look at 2 main positions for this, and that's our joker. I don't call it the star. When we went to this, my son was playing that, so I didn't want to use the term star, so we call it joker. What's his position strengths? What does he do well? Is he a free safety that's just kind of playing there? It's more of a DB. Is he a linebacker that's moved back? Is he a hybrid kid? What can he do? And then we look at our will linebacker, and we've had various types of will linebackers. 2 years ago, our Will was a sophomore who's now our Mike, but he was not very good at reading guards and getting in 20s. So we left him, and he basically played the Will, but more as a jack type 3-4 mid front. And so we just formatted what we did around that. So we kind of look at our joker and our Will because you can really play the Sam. That could be we played last year. Our Sam linebacker broke his ankle the first dang play of pads, and we played the first couple of games with a nickel. We technically had 6 DBs in. So we think in high school you can find that Sam outside linebacker, strong safety guy. And then also you got your weak safety, your free safety. Anybody that's running split field is going to position strength at. There's just my info right there. I'll move on to the next thing on what we do. This. So we have what we call a ready list. And this, I'm going to maneuver this a little bit where everybody can see it. This just puts all our fronts and coverage. This is just everything that we can do. Our fronts, coverages, 4-man pressures, 5-man, our sim stuff on third down, our movements with our D-line, our coverages, our 3-by-1 checks. There's our directional calls, and I'll get into that, how we pressure, our position concepts like you saw. So this just puts everything down on paper for us. What we try to do then, Coach, is go to down and distance calls. And obviously, stopping the run is our first thing. So we look at how we format it here off run down base call. So kind of our pecking order, our kids know this. And we've got all 3 linebackers returning. And I met with them the other day after weights, and I make them have to tell me the pecking order. So what we're going to do is play our tight front against 10P. So if we're facing 10P, our pecking order is going to be the tight front. We're going to play tight front, 2-4 eyes, a head up nose, and we're going to attempt to stop the run with that. We've got our base coverages that go along with the tight front. If that's not working, we'll move and stem to our bear front, and that's just what it is. That's just what I think in vernacular day, people are calling it penny, the penny front. A lot of people do, so we'll go to bear. And then down here at the bottom, you can see that after that, we will go to our Bravo, which Coach Mack at FS Football does a lot of this with his 3 high, and that's just we take the mic and we insert him. And we do some movements with it and insert our mic in the big gap just to get into really a 4-2-5 over-under front using the mic. And then we can replace him with a joker safety. And that's kind of our top 3 things we do to stop the run. If that's not working, then we go to what we call our par pressures, which are our 5-man stuff, our pass and run pressures. And those are just fire zones. So, and when we call those, saw in the last we have directionals, and I really like the way we do this. It's just really blitz the formation. So you can see the first one right here, we've got Saul. That's just Sam and Will off the edge. So I could go Saul 2, and we're going to the running back, or I can go Saul field. So we can go fire field, and that's just America's blitz that everybody runs. I could go fire Y if we want to run it to the sniffer, the H-backer, and inline tight end. So that's kind of what we get to in our pecking order, stopping the run. If we're seeing 11P, we're going to play the tight front, same thing. We just add a coverage in that we can play that's just solely for 11P sniffer stuff. We'll still move to our bear front. And then we get into our tough and mint, which is what you think, which Georgia runs the mint front. And that's really what we're trying to do, Coach, is tough talks to our Sam, and we'll identify an 11P where they're trying to run the ball. And that's where you saw in our position alignment groups, the Sam and Will have an up technique. And all they're doing is we're getting them closer to the line of scrimmage to have a quicker edge setter. And so tough talks to the Sam, mint talks to the Will. So one of the things I love, and since we call it up, I can just signal up, Y, and we count that as a sniffer. So whatever side the sniffer's on, we're going to get into our tough and mint front. We're seeing a lot of buck into the boundary with RPO. So, I want our Will linebacker that if we're playing tight front and they're running buck in the boundary and we're having a little trouble, I want him to be able to go, hey, Coach, let's get in mint. Let's get me up there in the up alignment. So that's our pecking order of how we attempt to stop the run. And I tell our guys, to get to the fun stuff, simulated pressure, you got to earn the right to rush the passer. So we really focus a lot on stopping the run with our run down base calls and our pressure. And when we do get to a true passing down, and what we do on this is we equate it to 70% tendency. So if we look at a certain down and distance as 70% tendency to pass the ball on offense, we'll get into our sim stuff. And those are just, I mean, we run a solid front, which is just our 5 up, where everybody runs that, and we're coming with a couple different looks. We run our mug front, where we're just in an odd mug look, and we run our cross dog and our read blitz on the center. Our show and our walk is just we're overloading that balls type front stuff, where we're going to bring pressure from that side, and then we'll run a simulated coming from depth, and then we'll bring both our nickel and our free and drop our outside guys. So it's not reinventing the wheel out of that. And our coverage of that is we play what we call cover 6, which is just 3 deep, 3 under fire zone that we do that. We give ourselves a grade each week. There's kind of our points of emphasis. We do points per possession. We don't do total points anymore, because you could face a single wing type team that wants to keep the ball and maybe only have it 6 or 7 possessions. But, if they score 21 points, well, that could be, 3 points in a dang possession. Where we look at, you could face a spread team that's running at tempo and trying to get 10 or 11 possessions. So we look at more points per possession. Our D-line coach gives us a team grade each week. And so if we win first down, less than 4 yards, we get a positive for that. Second down, we're trying to hold them to less than what they have to go for the first down. And on money down, we're getting off the field. So we found that, crazy enough, you're getting in the 60% range, you're winning football games. It's very difficult, we feel, to get up in the 70s. We've had that a couple of times, a couple of years ago, when we had a really top 10 defense in the state. So
5 minutes, Coach.
That's kind of how we do things. Talking about our ECAT, I'll show you what we do. So every position group has what we call an ECAT sheet. So you can see this is my safety one. You've got D-line down here, linebackers, but like the safeties, there's their alignment, their key assignment technique. And so we've got all our coverages draped out across here, and it's going to tell them, if we're playing cloud 2 read, hey, I'm inside leverage 10 yards off number 2. We perform a line off number 2 splits. Our key number 2 to the quarterback. Scan, zoom, snap, like we're talking about. My assignment, I'm secondary force on the run. Number 2's vertical. I've got him all of him. Number 2's out. I top 1. What's my technique? We talk in terms of first, second, third gear pedal. So I'm on 2 gear pedal out, weave to protect the post, open my hips if 2's out, and I've got to get over top of 1. So we do this. Like I like what our corners coach does for his. We'll show this on here. And he has down at the bottom of his where you can see cornerback at a glance. So he does a good job. He's grouped everything. We talk in the terms of same as, like a lot of coaches. So these 3 coverages are the same as for corners. So he's grouped it up. We feel that we put this on our Google Classroom for our kids. So they study this in the off season. They've been doing this for the spring. So we feel just the more mentally prepared they can be when we really hit the ground running in the summer, it's kind of good to go. I've got a little time here. We'll watch a few clips on this. So here's a good example. We're facing this is the first game of the year, and we had no idea this team was going to come out with 11 personnel. So you can see we've called tight cloud. What's happened here is they've given us a nasty split with an inline tight end. Our safety has checked our sky check, which is just 4 lock. Plus, our weak safety, he has the ability with a split field coverage. He's called storm on this side. So we're basically quartered down here. And here's a good look at the Joker, what the 3 high can do. So there's my son right there. We ended up switching these 2 a couple of games in. Our Mike did better at the wheel, and he did better inside. So you'll see this. Just some quick. So here they motion in. I love our communication right here. Our Joker's aligning off number 3. Here we go. Our Mike he goes with flow of the back, but there's the Joker unblocked. So you can play kind of a lag technique with him, which is a lot of 3 high teams do. So he's the Q pull C gap defender. Corners playing the pitch off the nub side. You can see it's a good look at our Joker right there. Fit making the play. Here's the same formation to the other side. We still make our strength call to the 2-speed side. We don't really care about an inline tight end because we feel our Sam and Will can adjust on that. We're really a field defense. So our safety, here's a good look at this. So we check storm down here, which is quarters to us, where the outside linebacker in this case would take all of 2 out and up. We're playing mod on number 1. Safety's key in 2 if he's out. He'll bracket 1. And I believe we're playing that to both sides. So it's a good look at eye discipline. So if you look at the safety down here on the hash, as soon as 2 goes out, I'm over the top, and I'm going to top one. Notice also our pre-snap alignment, our corner, we're showing that two-read static look. But the snap, he's going to square up and now play mod quarters. Good press technique by him. Notice a good coaching point here. Anytime you're playing quarters, or what we teach the term called off. So our outside linebackers here are going to work and take two out. But you notice this is a negative route with a bubble. So we're going to cough. We're going to work the curl over to the flat and not go jump that negative route. Only thing I'd like here, to be honest with you, and this is one reason we switched. This is a third down, or second down. We switched put our nickel in. It's actually a wide receiver up top that rush passer. So we're slanting the front. Long. Gotcha. The mic should be triggering right here. How long have I got, Coach?
About a minute and change.
All right. Well, I'll show one clip where it can just show that. Here's a good look that you'd say, all right, they're in 11 personnel, really 21 personnel. So you can see how we lined up. We're going to match the tight end with our wheel walking up right here. Joker makes the sky check. They're trying to get us to spin the coverage and do a bunch of movements, but we handle all the motion and adjustment. I'll throw a tight end screen. We come right back to it. But once again, you can just see the versatility. So this is the same offense, the very next play with the same personnel grouping, and now they give you a spread. So here we go now. We line up. I like this. So they're going to hard count us. Now watch our guys. Everybody's going to communicate. Here we go. We're changing our stuff. You can see the Joker checking that. So last one right here I'll talk about. So what I love about this, talking situational defense, our Mike and our Joker know, hey, we're protected in our coverage call, playing two read. They're responsible for screen and draw. It's 3rd and 8. We know that we can get about 9.5 yards, 7.5 yards, and they're going to punt. So there's the Mike and there's the Joker fitting. Run a Q draw on 3rd and long because they're backed up in their own territory. They get 2 yards in football. So what I was saying, we just feel the versatility of what we do lends itself in this defense. Like I said, I love the 3-high safety. I could talk on it for days and get more intricate in exactly what we do, but I believe there's specific keys in the way we approach it and the way we teach and install that allows our kid the ultimate goal, which is to play fast and be able to handle all the dang stuff that offense are throwing at us today.
Okay. Well, coaches, a couple things. One, I already put Coach's Twitter, X, whatever it's called, in there. You can get a hold of him pretty easy. Give him a follow. Reach out to him. We have a podcast coming later this year. I don't remember when it's scheduled to release off the top of my head. I'll ask one question real quick so we don't go too far over. Kind of like, just for some basics of installing this, like, is there any notable hiccups that like immediately come off your head that you kind of have to deal with as you kind of coaches transition to this route?
I think being able to, people ask me all the time, we've played 4 years with this and probably played every snap, but maybe 4 or 5 with 3 D linemen. So being able to, how are you going to handle when you're getting, because now everything's full circle coming back. You're seeing more offenses go 11P, 12P, 21P. And so how are you going to handle that? What's your adjustment going to be? Can you get into an under front out of this? Are you going to handle it with a bare front? So I believe for us, it's just taking your player position strengths, and then how are you going to handle when teams are going to try to big boy you, which is what everybody feels they need to do to the 3-high, is try to close up the space and try to bully you and big boy you. You know what I mean? So how are you going to handle that? You've got to have the answers, and that's kind of why I went through. Here's our pecking order of exactly how we're going to handle things. So if we're going to get 21P, here's what we're going to get in based off our player position strengths, what we do well, what the offense is trying to do out of 21P. So I would say having your adjustments ready. You know what I mean? That's the big thing.
Okay. Perfect, Coach. Well, coaches, give him a follow. Reach out to him if you need anything. Coach, I appreciate you as always. If you need anything from me, let me know. Just unshare your screen so I can, and then we can kind of continue on. Again, I appreciate you, Coach White.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me on. Enjoyed it, Coach.
Thank you.